I don't get paid for it. But what you see back there, I carry that in my car. I pack that down into 3 suitcases. I keep those boards updated. I just put 16 names on that board this morning since June 15th on Long Island. My son, who is now 31 years old, has lost 22 young men that he's gone to school with in Hempstead. My husband stands here having lost a stepson that he raised for 11 years. Murder still unsolved. Keith Saunders, I work with him at Uniondale High School. He just buried a young man in his community where he does a whole lot of work around trying to save these young people. So the reason I asked you to step from behind your bikes, the reason I asked you to step to the middle of the crowd, because we like to step back and hear what's going on. We like to see, but we don't want to be seen. Let me tell you something. Right now, standing out here, if there's somebody with a gun and they're shooting right now 5 blocks away, if that gun is powerful enough, it can hit one of us standing here right now. We don't have time to stand behind because bullets have no name and they have no direction until they hit their mark. And their mark may not be you. It may not be the home you're sitting in, but you may be sitting there relaxing, and what can happen? Somebody tell me what can happen. When Jennifer Grimes was shot, that bullet wasn't meant for her. It was meant for the young man standing next to her. She was 15 years old. When the young lady was killed in Freeport sitting on the porch, that bullet wasn't meant for her. When Samuel was killed, my husband's stepson, that bullet wasn't meant for him. But it takes a human. I developed a jacket today that you'll see there, and I see violence as a cancer in our community. But see, many cancers we cannot cure. But this is one cancer that we have the answers to. Someone gracefully said, and I believe this, a gun is not the murderer. A knife cannot operate by itself. All of these things need to be driven by humans. Being beat to death with a bat, that takes a human. Being run over by a car or being hit in a car by someone who is drunk, that meant that somebody took the ability to drink and then get in the car, get on the bike. You have a biker that you lost some months ago. His murderer just took, I think it was 15 years. But he killed him on Greenwich Street in Hempstead. Alcohol, knives, guns, all of those things are things that humans use to create destruction in the community. Now, this parking lot in this street should not be able, no one should be able to move because of all the loss of life we had on Long Island. And just in this corridor, from Freeport to Hempstead to Uniondale, those communities alone, that's where we've lost our 16 people. Hempstead has suffered 6. Uniondale 3. Freeport 3, the most recent last weekend. We have families mourning. We have young men. In Uniondale alone, we've suffered 5 suicides by hanging. Black men do not hang themselves. That's one of the things we don't do. But we have 5 in Uniondale alone who took their lives by hanging. I don't want to ever forget any of those brothers and sisters. A young lady stabbed another young lady to death at the age of 19, leaving two little boys without their mothers. And what they have in common is that those 2 little boys, those 2 babies, are blood brothers. And we need to take this serious. I appreciate the bikers coming out. I appreciate B. Jones calling me to come out. I'll come out whenever there's something going on, even when I don't believe in what the philosophy of the person is. But if it will keep the names of Jose White, whose mother is here, who I worked with him in Roosevelt, because many of the people that you see up there, many of the young people that you see, these are funerals that I've attended. I've gone to the morgue with families and helped them identify their children's bodies, and gone to the funeral home and helped them put together a funeral. That is painful. I don't like seeing young men come to a funeral and that's when you see their emotions and you seeing them crying. Right now, I'm looking at the faces of young men. My son is 31, and whenever I don't hear from him for some hours and I hear that there's been a shooting, the first thing I want to know is he okay? Because see, brothers, raise your hands. Brothers, raise your hands. Raise them high. You are raising your hands because you are the number one. There was an officer that drove down the LIE the other day and shot across and hit a young man who was unarmed. So again, that's a human being taking a life